On this episode, the Bassmaster returns. Mr. Billy Sheehan next on Talk About Rock. All right, let's welcome to the show the Bassmaster himself, out on the road with Mr. Big, the Big Finish Tour, Mr. Billy Sheehan. Billy, how are you, man?
I'm good. Thanks very much.
Excellent, excellent. You guys have been crushing out there, man. I'm seeing the sold-out shows, and I caught the one in Rome. Just some great stuff happening for you guys, man. I'm so happy.
Yeah, it's been great. We just sold out Paris, France last night. We're in Spain now. All shows here are sold out. We did London. That was sold out. Pardon me. So, yeah, just about I think every show was sold out so far.
That's just amazing, just amazing. And you guys are putting out some stuff for Record Store Day as well, right, for Mr. Big?
It could be. I'm not involved in the day-to-day marketing thing, so it's not something that I know much about. The label does what they do, and they're great at it. They've done some anniversary editions and amazing vinyl, but I don't always have the inside scoop of what's about to happen or happening.
Gotcha. Yeah, I saw that they're releasing some live footage for some of the shows that you guys did too. I think in Tokyo, they're putting some stuff out for some of the Tokyo shows that you guys did. Yeah, that looks really cool as well.
Yeah, they shot the Budokan show there, and that's coming out on DVD or whatever the platform is these days.
It's always just fascinated me about you guys when you guys play out there, because there's a Mr. Big tribute band out there for you guys out in Japan, which is so cool. Very, very cool.
We had 5 Mr. Big tribute bands in Italy.
Oh, really? I wasn't aware.
Yeah, a couple in South America. Yeah, they're around quite a bit. There's a few in Japan, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, so you finally got a day off today. You get to chill a little bit, and I get to bug you for a little while.
Yeah, a little while.
Yeah, I understand. Well, very, very cool. Yeah. So, yeah, so you guys will be finishing that up, and then we're finally so happy that they announced a date here in Buffalo at Electric City. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know what the problem is there. It's mind-blowing. We play Cleveland, Toronto, Pittsburgh, New York City, Boston, everywhere around there, and yeah, it's just to say it's disheartening is an understatement, you know. And every year I go back and I pay for my flight, stay at my cousin's house, accept no money, and do a Christmas show to help a local music scene and everything, and I don't know, it kind of just goes ignored.
Yeah, the promoters just don't want to seem to get off their duff sometimes, for sure. When I saw this new club that was opening up, I know your name was thrown around right away, and they're like, why don't we have, Mr. Big and Billy Sheehan out here? Duh. Yeah, that's what needs to happen. No brainer, right?
I know some fans that contacted some club owners, and they didn't know who the band was or who I was, and so goes it.
Yeah, well, obviously those people aren't in the know, and they're not keeping up with what's going on. And with the string of sold out shows you guys have been putting on, just amazing stuff happening. I know I was reading in the social media, Eric's working through some issues and stuff, and she got the singer from Whitesnake backing him up a little bit, helping out with your shows and that. How has that been going? How is Eric doing?
Great. It's tough when you get. I mean, that's kind of why it's a farewell tour. I mean, we could limp over the finish line or run over the finish line. And right now we're planning to run over the finish line, but it's tough. Vocals are tough. It's I got a tight, tough schedule. So this gentleman plays in as we just were talking, one of the Italian Mr. Big copy band or tribute bands. He's got a great voice, a wonderful guy. So just comes in. As you get older, you just can't. Not all singers can hit those high notes anymore. So we
Right.
And that's not every song or everything like that, but a little help from my friends comes in on the lead vocals. I still do my part as I do. Paul, and our drummer Nick is a great singer, really, just a really excellent singer. He One great thing about Pat Torpey, God rest his soul, was that he was a lead singer also and at a really high range.
Right.
So we were worried we could never find somebody like that, but we found Nick, and he's on top of being an amazing drummer. He does Pat's parts perfectly, and they're quite difficult. There's a lot of nuance and finesse things you need to know.
Yeah, I
So
was so happy when you guys announced him that you brought him in. I think he was from Spock's Beard, and
yeah,
you announced that he was going to be filling in for the shows for you guys. Yeah, he's doing an amazing job. It sounds great, and I hope things work out with Eric and stuff. Definitely for what's going on. And you're right. I mean, it's hard when you're younger. I don't think a lot of vocalists think about that when you're younger. You're so revved up. You want to get this thing going, and you really you try to push yourself, but then you don't leave yourself any room like later on, right? We've seen that by some artists, right? You get a little bit older and they don't leave themselves a little bit of room sometimes to hit some of that stuff that they could in the day, right? But it's a tribute that you guys are just still trying to do it without faking it, backing tracks with all that crazy stuff, right?
yeah, we're not faking anything, and we never have and never will. But the vocal cords are a little tiny, two little flaps of skin there, and done right, with correct training, you can be Tony Bennett and sing into your 90s. But a lot of singers, they just to hit a higher note, they just push harder. You
Right.
just can't do that. You can only do that for so long.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
so
Exactly.
I was very lucky to get vocal lessons from a guy named Ron Anderson, and he was the number one guy. When Bono blows his voice out, they fly Ron Anderson in to fix him. He's the guy. Ozzy, Janet Jackson, uh, every his list of singers that he works with is an A list of all the best singers there are. Everybody, and I went to him for quite a while and really increased my range, my accuracy, everything. I sang my whole life, but I never, like I played bass my whole life. I don't know what I'm doing, but I play it. Same thing with
Well,
my singing. I've sang my whole life, but I didn't know what I was doing. But getting
well,
some instruction from Mr. Anderson was just amazing. Just what a difference it makes. And so but everybody's different. Everybody approaches it a different way, and we're doing our best to keep everything real. So we brought somebody in. We didn't have him behind a curtain, but there he is.
right.
He's helping the singer sing. So
Do a little
we're,
back. Right. And I did notice that you were singing a little bit more during the shows than you had in the past, stepping out in front of the mic a little bit more. And even, you're some of the local shows that you do for us here in Buffalo, doing some more singing, which was really cool to see, I must say.
yeah, I can croak out a couple of somewhat acceptable notes, so that's okay.
Yeah. Well, I think it's great, and the show you guys put on is fantastic. When I saw you guys in Rome, and I'll be catching the show obviously here in Buffalo when you guys come back to Electric City. That's going to be a very, very cool show. And it's looks like that's going to be another sellout for sure for you guys. I,
So yeah,
I have no doubt. I have no doubt that that's going to happen, you know?
I uh, I hesitate to announce things being sold out, but I want to let people know. I think a post about Buffalo. Let people know that it's probably going to sell out. So when it is sold out, I can't help you out.
Right. Don't
I
go
know
calling or emailing Billy or texting Billy, guys. You should have
when
been
I
on
do sell out, people write to me and ask me, and it's not.
I'm sure they do. Like as soon as the Buffalo dates can announce anybody that you knew or talked to back in the day is probably saying, "Hey, I hear you're coming." Da da da. Right? And yeah, you got to work that out with the venue and with things that are going on for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, but yeah, I've been talking to a lot of folks, and I know Mark Miller's going to be out there from Tallis,
Yeah.
so that'll be great. I know Jesse Galante and Bobby LaBelle are going to be out there to see the show. Tons of other folks. I was speaking with them the other day for a little bit, but yeah, it's going to be very cool. And I just couldn't, even when you were doing stuff with Winery Dogs, you guys were doing great shows and things were selling out. I'm like, you guys are right. Get off your duffs a little bit here in Buffalo. What are you thinking? What are you thinking about? You know?
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny. And again, we played everywhere with both bands. You know, we played all over the place, and we travel. It's funny. Sometimes I get comments. Well, the where you're playing is like 2 hours away from us, and I go, we traveled across two oceans and three continents.
Right.
There, so if
And
2 hours is too long for you,
yeah,
I'm
and I don't know how you get any
terribly
sleep with
sorry.
your schedule you got going on. It's a little bit crazy. You know, we are trying to figure out the time zones and stuff, and you're like, you know, all over the. You got to be a little bit tired here trying to get some rest in
Get
between.
used to it. Yeah, you get used to traveling like this. We finished at the Bataclan in Paris. Left there about the bus left about 1 o'clock, and we just arrived here in Madrid, Spain. So, but the bus is great. They're German tour buses, and they're clean and beautiful, and two lounges, and the beds are great and smooth. The drivers are amazing. So, I sleep great on a bus, on a tour
Yeah.
bus. So, no problem for me. Some
Oh,
people don't, but I sure do. But yeah, it's a grueling schedule, and we some of the travel times, especially here in Northern Europe, you have to take a ferry sometimes, you know, to get to. Well, we had to go from. We started in Germany, uh, drove through France to get to the English Channel at Dunkirk, went over to Dover, the White Cliffs of Dover, and then did our first couple of UK shows. Then had to take a ferry back again to do the Paris show. And those are long, long trips to do. So,
right,
and the flying too. I mean, to fly to Japan is about 14-hour flight.
right. Yeah,
I always try to time it door to door. When I
yeah,
leave my door to the time I open up my hotel room door. That's the travel time. It
right.
isn't how long the flight is. Because getting to the airport, getting your bags checked in, go to the security, then getting landing, waiting for your bags. So sometimes it's longer than the actual flight
Yeah.
itself. And then going through customs and immigration and all that stuff. By the time you get, it's a long. It's not unusual to do 24, 36 solid hours of travel.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. So how is it actually going through some of these international airports with all the crazy enough stuff in the world within the last, couple of years? Is it really grueling trying to get through some of these other places now?
no, it would probably be easier if they just dropped us off when we walked over the border illegally, because nobody's doing that. And you got a 90-year-old grandmother with a spotless record and contributor to society getting shaken down by the TSA, having to go into the private room and uh, get assaulted by those people. So it's a little frustrating, but we just play by the rules and get in there. And I don't have anything to worry about on going through customs and immigration and all that. They're generally pretty helpful, and they understand. They know by looking at you right away whether you are or you aren't.
Right, right. What's
and
that big case there? Oh, I'm a musician. Okay.
and once in a while, we often get a guy that works there that's kind of a fan, and he wants to take a photo and
Of
stuff.
course. I'm sure that happens a ton of times to you guys, probably trying to get through stuff, right?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. One time we came into Indonesia, and in Indonesia, when you fly in, you get your landing card. You got to fill out, where you're going to stay and everything. And on the landing card is a big red box that says, "Warning, mandatory death sentence for drug trafficking."
Wow.
Stamped right on it. And so we pulled in, the plane landed, the door opened, and the customs came right onto the plane. Nobody even got to stand up and walk out yet.
Wow.
And they were looking for us so they could get an autograph. So,
Here you thought they were doing some type of bust or something. What's going on, right?
true story.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's definitely crazy. I know. I have never done all the international stuff that you guys have done, but you're like I said, you're probably used to it by now. You've gone there a
Yeah,
couple different times and gone through all this and stuff.
I've been to Japan probably 75 times. That's a long trip. Indonesia a lot. Indonesia was a big market for us, huge, and all over South America. We'll be there, Mexico, South America after the European run we're on now.
Very, very cool. Very cool. Yeah. So this is definitely the Big Finish tour for Mr. Big. This is the the last hurrah? Because I think some people were asking about that. Like, are we going to see more from Mr. Big? I'm thinking this is the last deal for this, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to mention Kiss's name, so no, I'm kidding. But they did that farewell thing for quite a while. A
Well,
lot of
you
bands.
could say that about Kiss. You could say that about Motley Crue. Motley Crue even signed a contract back in the day. We're never going to tour again. Remember that? And they were said, what that is just yeah.
Again, the reason being that it's grueling and it's tough to put a tour together, and the rehearsals and the logistics are massive. Hiring crew and bus and booking hotels and flights, and it's a massive undertaking. So we wanted to do one more good one, but we're I'm good. I just turned 71. I could go like this for another 10 years, no problem. I'm good for that. But not everybody has that same physiology,
Right,
about.
right. I was going to say, I was going to wish you a happy belated birthday and a happy anniversary to you and your wife there.
Yeah,
Very,
thank you
very
very
cool.
much.
Yep.
So like I said before, rather than limping over the finish line, because I see some bands, and I feel for them, because maybe they're in a financial situation they gotta play,
Right.
and they're up there and they're in pain and they can't sing anymore, and there's backing tracks and it's not real, and we just didn't want to do that. And no offense to those bands, you got
Right.
to do what you got to do. People pay their money. If they didn't want to see it, they wouldn't pay. So and I do understand why they have to do them, but we just didn't want to go out that way. And plus, we lost our drummer Pat, and it's a different dynamic within the band now, and we're all good friends. We all like each other, and let's end on a high note. I
Yeah.
think, and
Right.
that's the yeah.
And I'm
But
sure that was a long conversation you guys had to have after you lost Pat, right? Were you going to put it back together? If you're going to do it, you wanted to do it just
we
right
didn't know
with the
what
right
was going to.
people.
We had no idea. We had the drummer that we had when Pat was still alive and with us. Pat couldn't play drums, but he could stand there and sing, tambourine and stuff. So we had him on stage with another drummer guy named Matt Starr, who's a great drummer. But Matt didn't have the range that Pat had. So when
Right. I
Pat was
thought you were
gone,
guys were going to choose him back in the day for sure. I was like almost thinking like you were going to pick him before the announcement. Yeah.
I would have, but we just needed that. We had three-part harmony, and the parts are assigned, and we needed the high part
Right.
to make it happen. So unfortunately, we couldn't use Matt for that, but he did a great job. So we thought, nah, I don't know, we had no idea what we were going to do, you know. And I think it was Paul who discovered Nick DiVirgilio and mentioned that, hey, this guy plays amazing and sings the same range as Pat. Kind of lit a little spark with all of us, and we thought, well, maybe we could do something. If we do, what do we do?
Right.
Well, let's say farewell properly to all of our friends, and there you have it.
Well, definitely the world has responded, and finally Buffalo, New York is responding as it should have. With all the sold out shows you guys got going around the world, which is I just love seeing that. It's amazing. The pictures you guys are posting from the shows and the crowds, it just looks so cool. And it's always good to have you back in town around the holiday season, like we were talking a little bit about earlier. You come in and you do the Christmas show with Jesse Galante and Bobby LaBelle, and they'll be doing it again this year. We can't wait to see that. That's going to be so
We're going to
cool.
do it at Babeland again. It was great this last year. We did that one Beatles medley with the horn section. I almost had a tear in my eye. That was so great, really cool, and everybody loved it. And the venue was just fantastic. And it was we've had good ones, but I think last year was our best yet.
Yeah, yeah, definitely the sound and the horns and the venue, like you said, it was just very, very cool. And I know
Guy by
this year working on stuff is going to be even more.
guy by the name of Phil Sims is in charge of the horns, and he's just a genius at arranging and figuring out who plays what, and and Elton, our drummer, is just great drummer, and so we it was really the whole point of it was is to get musicians together, just to say, hey, I haven't seen you for a year. What's going on?
Right.
It came about when I ran into Jessie at a NAMM show in Los Angeles, and uh, and I knew that her husband had passed away, but I'm just so busy with so many things, I didn't get a chance to really talk to her about it. And we thought, how nobody knows anything about anybody else's life because we're all flying around and doing crazy stuff all the time. So what if we had a thing for Buffalo musicians every Christmas? Good idea. So the first Christmas, a lot of musicians showed up and it was great. All the guys from all these bands we used to have back in the day, but then they kind of petered out. But unfortunately, they're all always invited. And we always have some locals up, as many as we can. Ron Rocco got up. It was great. He sounded as good or better than ever.
Yeah, I just talked to him last week. Yeah, he's doing great.
Mark Miller, of course, just mind blowing, and a lot of
Yep.
try and help out a couple locals with the opening act thing and such things like that. So it's been an enjoyable thing. So I do get to see not all, but some of my musician friends from back in the day.
Yeah, it's always a good time checking that out. So we definitely look forward to that coming up at Babeville with the musicians of Buffalo. And obviously, finally, Buffalo, New York, Mr. Big and the Big Finish tour coming to Electric City. I believe it's June 6th. So that should be an outstanding tour. Billy, thank you so much for your time, man. I so appreciate chatting with you. I know you're such a busy guy, but thank you so much.
Oh, it's always my pleasure. Thanks for having me on. I look forward to seeing you in June.
Yep, I will be there. Yeah.